Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
Joshua Shrum. He is a very talented steward, very knowledgeable.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. This is one of those podcasts where I listen to every episode. I love what he's putting out there.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. Josh Shrum.
Parcels of Knowledge. Does a fantastic job with that podcast.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. He is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God. We need Article 8 scholars right now.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.
Good morning and welcome back to Parcels of Knowledge, the podcast dedicated to delivering knowledge to the city letter carrier with your host, the Roseville Wrecking Ball. Today we're on grievance number 333 in the beautiful city of Roseville, Michigan. And you know what day today is? It is Wrecking Crew Wednesday. And once again, we have grown in numbers. Today we got 36 members. And I know you're thinking, man, Wrecking Ball, why are you doing a regular Wrecking Crew Wednesday? Well, it's not really. I'm just getting rid of the introduction I normally do on Wednesdays at the roundtable today, because today, of course, is the first Wednesday of the month. Yeah, so without further ado, let's recognize these badass individuals. That would be Rick Steiner, E.R., Tom Perry, Philip DeGilio, Chris Angeloff, Amy Tyvan, Ryan Ackers, Edmund DeVore, Miziel Guzman, Paul Siranowski, Jamie Gregory, Neil Beckman, Shannon Mossbarger, Kenneth Grigsby, Benjamin Shellhaas, Joni Weber, the Allentown Architect, Self-Care, G. Whiskey, Daniel Pitts, Mark Allen Kennedy II, Jason Munn, David Grosskopf, Unfortunate VP, Abraham Askar, Corey Walton, Tyler Christopher, Lito Miranda, Anthony Arthur Robinson, Angel, the activist Obi Tynes, Roxy B, Kathleen Rocky Connors, Kirby Franklin, Omi, and Alan Rossi. That's right. That is our Wrecking Crew. If you don't know what the Wrecking Crew is, it's our members of our Patreon. Feel free to go there. If you feel like this podcast contributes any value to your life, you're welcome to give that value right back. You can donate anywhere between $1 and $50. It's not a gatekeeping method. There's no extra educational material, but it does have its perks, like being able to choose Wednesday's episode. And then on, of course, the first Wednesday of every month, we're going to have our roundtable. Well, you'll be able to choose not only that episode, but also be able to speak freely on that topic. That will be tonight. So tonight at 9 p.m., I'm fairly excited.
My curiosity is killing me just like a cat would be killed by the curiosity, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm working on my Macho Man impersonation, so pretty soon I'll be able to do that myself. But, yeah, today's going to be the topic is going to be the testimony from Steiner at Congress, and boy, oh boy, man.
You told some of the biggest lies that I've ever heard of in my whole life.
Yeah, he's a little bit off the rail. If you think DeJoy was bad, man, this guy is a strange bird. But I think it'll be fun. I don't think the participation warrants 2 time slots, so we're only going to be doing the 9 p.m. time slot. So Wrecking Crew members, please, if you're listening to this podcast, let me know. I need RSVPs. Let me know who all is coming so I know for sure whether or not the 2 time slot thing. But based on the participation so far, Looks like one time slot will be sufficient. Tonight, last night actually, John Murphy actually posted something that was interesting. I just wanted to touch on a little bit. Looks like there's going to be a ticket that John Murphy announced of AFL-CIO delegates. Now, the rumor on the street is, though, there may be a bump in the road in terms of this slate, because from what I understand, I do believe that the next convention for the AFL-CIO we have 2 elections by then. So there's a chance that the current establishment might not allow an election for the AFL-CIO delegates this time around. But I think that was pretty exciting. Some young faces on a ticket. I think that's interesting. I'd really like to have them on to interview them about their candidacy. But the main topic I wanted to talk to you about today is this goddamn heat. It is a mess. I just want you to know that no matter what happens out there, that your safety is number one. Nobody else can tell you any different. If you feel like you have the symptoms of heat stress and you think you have the ability to drive back and clock out. Tell them you cannot take it any longer. If you think you're so far gone that you need assistance, call 911. But whatever you do, make sure you stay safe. I'm going to be taking additional comfort stops. I know for certain I will have to, just based on the index of the heat. Now, I do want to make everybody aware of this heat work rest schedule document that I have went over once before, but that was about probably a year ago. So I'm going to go over it again. I do have a heat stress document that talks about a work rest schedule. Do we have a work rest schedule that is contractually precedent? No, we don't. In fact, our contract basically allows us to take comfort stops whenever needed. So is it really needed, a work rest schedule? I don't know. But this is usually used by, people who are working outside. A lot of times it's construction. But there's so many different work rest schedules out there. And none of them are wrong, because it's really situational, the whole heat illness thing. So I would recommend posting this work rest schedule on your union board. If you're a steward, because they probably control the board, it's not going to be any carrier in some offices. And what I do is I also post an update, because this work rest schedule takes consideration about the environmental conditions. For example, if there is full sun, well, they want you to add degrees to the actual temperature. Partially cloudy, they'd also want you to add degrees, but less. No shadows, no adjustment. Fully cloudy, no adjustment. Humidity, 40%, you got to add some degrees. 50%, you got to add some degrees, and 60%, you got to add some degrees. So it kind of takes an understanding of the bulb effect and all those things. And I think it's probably the best tool we can use to say, look, if you're going to write me up for taking too much comfort stops, this work rest schedule actually recommends something that you're probably not going to do. For example, in extreme heat, which this actually would qualify as extreme heat, even light work at 110 degrees, which I think across the country we're going to be over 110 based on the wet bulb globe temperature adjustments. It recommends at 110 degrees, for every 15 minutes of work, 45 minutes of rest. You know goddamn well the vast majority of us are not going to take 45 minutes of rest for every 15 minutes of work. Let's just say you took 2 hours of rest during your 8-hour day. And they try and issue a letter of demand for taking too many comfort stops. And they're not going to call it that. They're going to call it something else, but because they would know that would be in the wrong. But when they issue this discipline, what I like to do is I like to point to this and say, hey, look, this is a government document. This is NIOSH and the CDC working together. Publication number 2017-127. And what it talks about is that this is the work rest schedule that is recommended. And we didn't even take the work rest schedule that is recommended, because in an 8-hour day, for every hour of work, you only work 15 minutes. We did much more work than that. So you should be grateful about the fact that we didn't actually take more. But it's not unreasonable to take these breaks because this was recommended by the NIOSH and CDC. And yes, they don't have precedent over us, but they are reliable sources. And it's not unreasonable to follow this work rest schedule. Yeah, that's usually how I use it. But I'm going to put this on the Parcels of Knowledge Facebook, and I'll do it on my Facebook too, because it seems like most of you guys don't actually follow the Parcels of Knowledge Facebook. You just follow mine, but whatever. And then one other thing before I let you go. David Grosskopf is going to be on the podcast on Saturday. So with that being said, feel free to submit to me any questions you have. RosevilleWreckingBall@yahoo.com. He's going to answer all of them. But, of course, like with Jim's Henry, if an amazing amount of questions get submitted, of course, there's going to have to be like a timeliness thing there where we might have to do a part 2, but I doubt it. So far, I've got a decent amount of questions, but the goal is we're going to ask him every single one, and he's going to answer every single one. I'm not going to take anything off the table. So, David, he's a good guy. I'm sure that he'll be just fine. But hopefully you learned something valuable today, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning when I post this roundtable that we're going to do tonight. I'll see you there, Wrecking Crew. As always, have a good day.
If these guys are getting educated, we will be in big trouble.
Management's been weighing you down like a bag of wet catalogs, but you don't gotta take it. You strap on the elbow of education, dig it?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. He is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God. We need Article 8 scholars right now. The Grievous Genius and the Roseville Wrecking Ball doing amazing work.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the Mailman's Playbook, brother.